Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome back to another session. I'm really excited today because I get to bring on a really cool guest all the way across the sea, hailing from the UK, who gets to talk about his new single that's out right now, Flying Saucers. And thank you for tuning in because this is going to be a really fun episode. And of course, it doesn't hurt when you have a really great accent. Thank you all for being here and listening. And as always, welcome to IPA Sessions. Welcome to IPA Sessions, a podcast for independent artists. As always, I'm your host, Kay Jacob. And again, today we have another musician on the show, but not just any musician. This man hails all the way, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, from Crewe, Cheshire, and the UK. He is an indie alternative musician who writes, produces, sings, plays actual instruments, piano, guitar. He does it all by himself. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Harrison J. Say hi, Harrison.
Hey, nice to meet you all. I'm so glad to be here. It's nice to chat to you. I can't wait to
Yeah,
share. Yeah, well,
thanks, man. I'm glad you came on. I've been listening to your music, and I forgot to say you actually have a song out right now. You've been releasing these singles. What's your new song that's out?
it's called Flying Saucers. So it's an emotional song about moving on from the past, but also it's about being high too. It's about kind of being like, I'm just in a whole other world right now than where I was in the past sort of vibe. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, and you can listen to it right now on Spotify. Go look up Harrison J. There are links in the show notes. I highly recommend checking it out. And of course, Jay, speaking of the past, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you and what all do you do, man?
Yeah, so you did say it right. It's Crewe, Cheshire, so you've said it close enough correctly.
I
Well
just didn't
done.
have the cool English accent to do it with.
Cheers. So I graduated uni last year, and so I studied media production at Liverpool John Moores University. So that's what
Nice.
I've been doing for the past 3 years until last year. So that was I started the year of lockdown actually. It was shit the first year because it was
I
in
bet.
all online virtual the first year of uni. So kind of ruined the experience for the first year, but it got
Yeah.
better. So I'm glad I did it straight away because I was thinking of doing a gap year, but I'm glad I just got it out of the way because now I can focus on music because I've always wanted to focus on music, but I knew that I wanted to get a degree under my belt. And it relates to music because there's so many skills that I've learned from media production that I can apply, especially in the marketing side of things. It's taught me a lot there. So
Yeah. Which is good to know all this because you are an indie. Not only is your genre indie alternative, but you're an actual independent artist. You're doing this all on your
yeah,
own, putting
all
yourself out there.
yeah.
And I mean, special props to our good friend of this show, Dom. He's the one that put us in touch. I know he's a great guy that looks out for indie artists as well. So you're already putting yourself out there and networking. I mean, you're here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So take me through a little bit of your process here. You said you've always wanted to do music, but what really got you into music? What made you I guess what inspired you to be like, I want to do this. I want to be a musician.
Okay, so the thing that really made me, I like decided that I want to do this for real was I was a radio host it was called Redshift Radio in Nantwich, which is the town next to Crewe. So I was the host of a show called Recent Releases. So I would present the new songs that came out that week, and it would be
That's
like
cool.
I'd have to find 15 to 20 new songs every single week. So by doing that, that really immersed myself into music culture, and that what it inspired me to like. I want to do this myself. I want to be one of those artists that's played on the radio, sort of thing. So that's what I feel like really catapulted me into doing it. And then I also studied music in high school, and like so, I feel like doing that as well.
And then, of course, like you said, you went to school after this. You just graduated. Now you're out there, and you have a lot of work out already. There's a ton of music on your site. I know a lot of it's singles. And forgive me because I kind of had to briefly skim some of it. Did you have any full albums out as well?
No, so I'm purposefully dropping it as singles because I know that the waterfall release strategy is just the most effective way to get
Yeah.
the hype going. I want to
Do
just
you
cultivate,
do you
yeah.
have any ideas for a compilation album? Is there something that you do want to put out at some point, like a full album?
Yeah, I made a full length album in 2021, and a couple of the songs that are out now were meant to be on it, but I don't think I'm going to release that as an album anymore. I think that for right now, at least, I'm going to carry on just doing singles. Unless there's the demand specifically from the audience for an album, I'm just going to carry on doing singles and like test the waters in many different lanes and then gravitate towards what people enjoy the most, but also what I enjoy making the most at the same time.
I know from what I've heard so far, you're very experimental with your music. Like we said, it's an indie alternative, but it's very experimental.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has like a nice rock sound to it. There's this bit of hip hop and R&B. You have electronica, pop. Why do you play with that experiment? And like what drew you to just kind of, I guess, fuck around?
Yeah. I think it's just I always start with the lyrics when I write a song. So when I write a song, I can envision like what sort of style it is. So, but there's so many different moods of songs I've written. Like I've basically whatever emotion I'm feeling at the time, I'll write how I'm feeling. So it's like certain styles will just work better with different sounds, and I think that's how I first started it. And I also just listen to all different genres. So because of that, I'm picking like from different elements from music that I love and just like making my own version of that in a way and
Yeah.
mixing it and blending that.
And
Yeah.
and it's like you're creating your sound. I've always said like no matter what genre of music that you make, no matter what kind of singer you are, everyone has a sound that when you're established, people they hear it, and before you even utter anything out of your mouth, they can just hear a chord and be like, "I know that band. This is Red Hot Chili Peppers." Like you instantly recognize that. This is
Mm,
Beyonce. I know right away that's Beyonce. So like you're creating that sound that is unique to you. I think that's really cool, man. I would love to see you do a full compilation album because I'd be curious to see how that turns out. Like
mm.
how will that play out? Like
I would
how
love
weird and
to.
experimental can it be?
Yeah, I would love to make a full concept, and I do have many ideas. So the name of, should I tell you the name of what the album was going to be? Because I was
Whatever
actually
you want to
planning, yeah,
discuss.
sure, okay, it was going to be called Hellish Paradise, which there is a song that I've not released yet called that too. Maybe one day I'll release it, so let me know if you guys want to see that. And it's also, there's other ideas though now that I've made more. I've made like multiple albums worth of material that I'm sitting on, so there's songs that are great songs that I think would be better as singles because they just don't match some of the other songs. Because I
Yeah.
am experimenting with different genres, so I feel like that maybe I should do like EPs of the certain genre if I have a few that
Okay.
match. So I might do
Yeah, a
that.
few songs here and there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and another thing is because I want music videos as well, and I want to save the album until I can do a big budget album and like really debut that big debut album as well. I think that's why I'm sitting on not putting out an album just yet, if you get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, take your time. It's your art. It's how you want to present it. And speaking of your art and music, you have a brand new song out today, as of this airing, called "Flying Saucers." It's your new single, and of course, there's going to be another new single out 2 weeks from now, because every 2 weeks you've been dropping singles, which I think is really cool. It's a great way to keep people interested. It's a great way to pull people in. But let's talk about Flying Saucers. Take us through this process, what it was like creating Flying Saucers, what the inspiration was. And then, of course, once you're done talking about Flying Saucers and how it came about, I'd love for you to take us through a technical walkthrough of how you recorded and produced everything.
So Flying Saucers was made in 2021. So I first wrote the lyrics, and it has a melody that will get stuck in your head, especially in the chorus. Like it is a bit
Nice.
of a repetitive chorus, but it's like a catchy chorus, and I'm showcasing my vocals more with this one. This one I really show the range that my vocals can get to, and at the end I hit a high note at the end, so get ready for that.
Nice.
And so the song is about being high as well. So I thought because I'm hitting them high, so I'm talking about being high whilst hitting the high notes.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, and it's about like being in this other world. It's very atmospheric in the production, and it's just like it's a pop ballad actually. I'd say it's
Poppy?
closest
Okay.
to, yeah, it's a pop ballad. I would say it as, but it's like got it's like slowish, but not. I don't know how to explain it. Like you feel like you're floating. It's that sort of like
Feel like you're high?
ethereal. Yeah, yeah. It's like sort
I
of like
like
that.
that. That's cool,
Yeah,
man. You're messing with their mind, making them feel the emotions of the song. That's really cool.
yeah. And I
You
want
can
it
be
to
sober
feel.
and enjoy. You don't have to be,
Yeah,
you don't have to do
absolutely.
drugs. You can still enjoy this sober for anyone listening. No
Yeah, I want
judgment.
it to feel like you're out of space as well
That's
because it's
cool.
got there are actual like UFO sounds in it, which I found on Soundtrap for those UFO sounds. Do you know Soundtrap at all? It's a
I actually am not
DAW.
familiar with Soundtrap, but that
No
sounds
one
like something
knows
I should look
it.
into.
It's actually made by Spotify, and that's
Okay.
their online DAW. So
And it's
it's like,
like public domain, free domain
yeah,
music. That's
yeah.
good to
So
know.
that's what I got for the UFO sounds that are in it, because
That's cool.
I played around with that, and I've added like extra reverb to it to like make it even more atmospheric. And so there's a lot of reverb in the song, but it's like in a, it's just you'll have to hear it, I guess,
Yeah.
to truly get the vibe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what is your technical process for everything? Where do you start, and how do you, like, what software do you use? How do you record? Just take me through all the humdrum of the technical stuff.
Yeah, so I have recorded at other people's home studios before, but right now, do you want me to show you what's up with my mic? Because I do
Sure.
record
Yeah,
from
we are
my
on
house.
video, so anyone that's
Yeah.
watching the video can see us.
So,
If you're listening, check out the video on YouTube or on Spotify, as long as you're not hooked up to your car and driving.
so this is a Blue Ember XLR, and I've used this to record vocals at home. This wasn't used for Flying Saucers. Flying Saucers, the vocals were in 2021, but they're so good, like it's perfect. Like I don't want to redo it because it's like it's so spot on. It's like the
Yeah.
perfect
But
sound
this is
like
some good
for it.
equipment that you can recommend to any artists out there that are wanting to set up a home
Yeah,
studio.
other songs I used this for. I'm trying to think of if there's any that Mount Kilimanjaro. I used this to
I
record
listened to
with.
that one. That was a good one. Yeah, it had a neat
Yeah,
little it sounded like you put some cool effects in there too. It had these moments. I don't want to say it was an echo, but there was like this unique reverb. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not musically gifted with language, so I apologize if I'm
yeah, it's
describing it
all
wrong.
good.
But it had a
Yeah,
really unique sound that you put in there.
yeah, I definitely upped like the EQ and the reverb for it because I actually
Okay.
recorded it literally right here at this very in my room for Mount Kilimanjaro. But it's because my friend Will, who I've recorded at his home studio, so he's in Manchester, so he's been moving. So when that's why for the more recent songs this year I've not been able to record it is because he's not been able to set up the studio yet because he's had to move.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, shout
but
out
with
to Will though for the
yeah,
help.
shout
That's
out to
good.
Will Wenlock, yeah. And so I went his house and recorded Flying Saucers there. He's got a better mic, and his setup was really good at the time. I'm sure still is. So then the vocals were layered and mixed using FL Studio. So for Flying Saucers, the instrumentals were then I added it in Logic. So that's how I assembled the production myself with Logic. So then when I had the beat ready and I wrote the lyrics before I made the beat as well. I always do that for the most part. The very first thing I get in my head is the melody, and then like I could hum it. There's so many songs that I have a melody for. I could hum it, but I don't have words for it yet, and I need to come up with the perfect lyrics.
Yeah,
Lyrics is one of my favorite parts, and you can definitely tell that in my songs because I play around. I'm very playful with my lyrics for sure.
I love
So
that.
yeah, so
And
I think,
I know songwriting itself can be difficult, and the fact that you
oh yeah,
actually write the song first and then you put the music on top of it, you like to start with the hard part first, huh?
yeah, it's like poetry though. It's just something about it. You can really like express the way you're feeling about things. Like I've got like there's a song I'm sitting on called Truth that like I'm mad in it. Like you can just tell that anger, but that's one that I'll save for later. I might put that one out more in winter time. I feel like that's not a summer song.
Yeah.
You know what I
So
mean?
it's the perfect angry song for Christmas. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, literally. It would actually be good then, because everyone's like with Christmas, it's there's a lot of superficial, you know what I mean? So having a
Yeah.
song that's calling out superficial behavior would be good. So I might do
Smart.
that. Yeah,
See, you got the marketing skills at work already.
yeah. Cheers. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
So
Happy to help.
yeah,
So you write out the lyrics, you get the melody, then you start making the music. Do you play on your piano? Do you play a guitar? Like, I guess because you say you hum everything as you're humming, does that help you decide like how you want it to sound, like how the beat's gonna go?
yeah, for sure. Like I can tell like how fast or slow is first. That's how I come up with tempo, definitely with humming, and like then I will get like a melody. I often come up with like the bass line with piano. That's like you can really tell that with my song Rubatosis. I used piano to assemble the production with that one, and I feel like you can
Okay,
tell.
nice.
But yeah, so that's another song I put out a couple of weeks ago. So if I know no one will know what rubatosis means, it's the
I have
sensation
no
of
idea.
yeah, it's the sensation of when you're aware that your heart's beating. So like the da you can like when you're
Oh,
aware of that.
after
So
a
in
hard run, I'm a fat guy. After a hard run, I'm aware.
yeah, so you've got rubatosis after a hard run, yeah. So, but that's you'll tell it in the production. I wanted to replicate that in the percussion. You'll hear like the da with the beat as well. So that shout out to that song too. But that one I
Nice.
used the piano to produce a lot of it. It depends on the song because other songs I just do it with the computer, and it's easier that way at times. So with Flying Saucers, it was more so just produced with Logic and getting the sample UFO sounds from Soundtrap
Yeah.
and then making it all atmospheric together. And then the vocals were the last part that were added. But I practiced many times to hit them high notes. Honestly, you'll hear at the end. It's like falsetto. It's like very high at the end. Like
Awesome.
so, I don't
No,
even
I'm
know if I
looking
could
forward
sing it
to it.
right now. Like I go
I'm
real high note. It's all
I'm
good.
gonna be listening to it as soon as it drops.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy
Uh,
it.
and of course, we got a special treat for everyone that's listening. You might get a chance to hear it here on IPA shortly, but let's continue on.
Yeah, sure.
um, with the recording it, you now have everything laid out how you like. What's your next step once you're done with it? Once you have it all set in stone, you've got the music in. You said you use Logic to edit through, which I know other people have recommended Logic. It's a pretty good software system.
It's
Um,
getting low key worse. It gets a bit laggy nowadays. I don't know if it's
uh,
just my. It might just be my computer though, because I'm low in storage.
Hey, maybe time to upgrade. That's okay. There's no wrong
Yeah,
way. You
yeah,
figure it out. I mean, I've had to upgrade this show. I mean, my next step for this show is to get myself a better camera.
mm,
I'm a bit pixelated sometimes. But
mm,
it's all part of the learning curve. Every time you do something new with what you've been working on, you start to see more and more like, okay, I really like this. The final product is great. This is where I want to improve, but I'm going to improve it for the next thing I work on. So that's how I feel with
definitely.
every episode, talking to you and other amazing artists. The musicians surprisingly have helped me out a ton with the podcasting equipment. I've been able to upgrade my microphones to a better recording quality. I've been able to get gifts from friends like my screen protector, just things that I never thought of because I'm like, oh, it's podcasting, I'm talking. But you listen to musicians, the things you guys recommend that you talk about, it helps. It helps with talking. You can clean your
Mm,
tracks up so that way not only do I present better, but when I record with you guys, I can clean your audio up and make you present it or have you present it better too, because I want to give you a professional as I can platform. So
mm.
like it's every bit of information is helpful, and I appreciate you sharing with us your process. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. One thing I thought I'd say is that one thing I had to adjust to
Yeah,
was
please.
after I graduated, whilst I was at uni studying media production, one thing I had in my course was that I could rent equipment. So there was so much technology that I benefited
Well, that's
from
the best thing about
borrowing.
school.
Yeah, so with like cameras and like different technology, like I even had an Oculus Rift that I borrowed from uni for like 3 years. So I missed the
You borrowed.
Oculus. Yeah, borrowed, but it's not here anymore. So I did borrow. So, yeah. But that's one thing I had to adjust to is going from all of that camera equipment, all the audio equipment too that I would borrow from them, and then having to invest in my own stuff after graduation. So that was something that is like what you were saying with like having to evolve your equipment and like
Yeah.
upgrade. So that's
And
something that I've had to do recently a lot.
yeah. Well, and much like your music being very experimental, as a musician, as a filmmaker, an actor, a podcaster, any kind of artist, be experimental. Even if you're a paint and pencil artist, like actual, drawing artist, experiment, try new things, like see what you can and can't do, play with stuff. That's how you learn. I like to tell people I love to fail because I learn through that failure, and it makes
Mm.
me better.
And you
You
don't know
embrace
till you
that.
try.
Exactly. You don't know till you try, because you can talk all day, but talking and actively doing are two different things.
And
Yeah.
consistency as well. You could do it once in a
Consistency.
blue moon, but then are you really committed? So that's what thing I've had to learn this year is because like I the first three singles were a bit more scarcely put out. The first
Hmm.
single was put out last October, the very first single, Friday the 13th. Then I had Are You Still the
Great
Same
song, by the
Person in
way. I
November.
like that one.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I'm
So
also a
then
horror fan, so
yeah. So yeah, it is horror inspired, that one, and it was great putting that out in the spooky season. I released it on Friday the 13th of October. So
smart.
yeah, so now every Friday the 13th you'll see me do a post about it probably. Yeah.
Keep at
And
it.
then but then I had one in November, and then I didn't put one out till February, and then I had a 5 month break until July, start of July with Mount Kilimanjaro. But that's because I've just been preparing a lot with the marketing side of it, learning how to do it as well, because I don't have any team. All of the marketing is done by me too, and that's so important in this day and age because like there's so many amazing, beautiful songs that just people don't know because they don't have the exposure, and I'm in that category too. So, but I
Yeah.
just want to try my best to put it out as much as I can and just learn a lot with it.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of budgeting is the hardest part. Decide you
Yeah.
can't put all your eggs in one basket, and you have to just be careful because there's a lot of scummy people in the industry too. So, yeah.
Very true, and I'm glad that you brought up budgeting, because I like to ask the artists on the show about finances.
Mm,
As an independent artist, you have to really invest a lot of your own money and time into your equipment, your art, and your time with
mm.
everything. Do you feel that you have a good balance for a financial gain, or an opportunity to get financial gain out of this, or right now is it really just continuing to invest in yourself and hoping that down the road it could pay off?
So it's a bit of both, really. Like I have seen that it's starting to pay off, but not like in a great way. Like you know what I mean? Like it's not making thousands, but that's
Of
just the
course.
state of the industry with like how little streaming makes.
The pros and cons of it all.
Yeah, the pros is that I have full creative control and no one's telling me how I should do something. It's fully all on my own terms at my own pace. But that means I have to hold myself accountable, and I've learned to get more disciplined with it. By now, I'm having a release every other week. It's discipline to constantly be posting. I'd say the part I find the hardest is the social media promotion side of it, which a lot of artists are the same. They just want to focus on the music
It's
rather
tough,
than,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I'm the same way. I really got to step up my social media presence. I've been trying and actively doing it, but when you're doing so much creatively, you're
Mm,
like, all right, one and done. I made a post, and it's like, but you kind of got to flood the social media network. You got to post constantly. It helps to do it every day. I lack in that, and I'm trying so hard to do it and keep people reminded. So it's like, for example, when this was airing, I'll do a release a week before, or 3 days before, and then I do another release on the day of, and then later on, after the episode's been out, I'll create some reels to show, like on TikTok and YouTube and on Instagram, so people can be like, oh, that was the new artist, let me go check out that episode. So like, I
mm,
understand that you're not only are you creating your music, you're also trying to create things with your music to put on social media, like, hey, check this out, here's a little sample of my song, here's a clip of something I was doing. It's
yeah,
difficult because you're more focused on getting the song done than you are trying to get that presence, but it all has to tie together. It can be very, very
very
annoying
much
to
so.
walk.
Yeah, and the audience does appreciate captivating visuals too. And as a music lover myself, I also love a good visual as well. So I want to deliver with my visuals. So doing that on a minimal budget, you have to think outside of the box a lot of the times
Yeah,
and like just make stuff yourself. So with the cover art as well, I want to talk about the cover art for Flying Saucers because it's a very
absolutely.
hypnotic
Yeah.
design. I'm not sure if you've
Yeah.
seen the photo that I've sent you in the email yet because
As
I
of
just
this
sent it.
recording, I haven't, but I will be looking at it because for anyone listening to this episode, you'll notice that it's on the artwork for this episode session with Harrison's face.
Yeah, so that it's all self-designed that, and I used various photo software, and actually the flying saucer, like there's an outline of the flying saucer in it, which was a digital artwork that I made back in 2021, but it looked different. I posted the original flying saucer photo way back on my photography Instagram. I've got my main Instagram, it's Harrison J, and then my photography Instagram, Youth Lies. So I'm also a photographer as well. So
Oh,
that's something I
so
never.
what you're saying is you'll be coming back on the show to talk about photography.
Yeah, can do. Yeah, for sure.
Let's do
I
it.
do it. I
You're
do a lot of
booked.
stuff. Yeah, let's do it. And so with that, I made that flying saucer and posted it there. Back, I had a little digital art phase, but I stopped doing that now. Mainly, it's just photography now. But I used to post digital art as well, and that was like a combination of adding digital art in the sky, having that flying saucer that I drew in the sky photo that I took, basically. And then I've added more editing to it. So I've created the pattern in editing. You'll see it's very hypnotic pattern that it's got, and it's like echoing from the saucer, and it's like black. It's not black and white. It's like navy blue color theme, but you'll see it. It's like a very hypnotic photo.
I'm looking forward to looking at it, and that sounds really cool, man. Like you don't just make and produce all your music. I guess I should include it that you do photography as well, and that you
Mm-hmm.
create your own cover art. Like so, like I said earlier, with that social media presence, you're doing all this stuff focused on this music. It can be
The cover
difficult
art's
doing
one
the
of my
social media,
favorite parts. I love making the cover art.
right?
It's
Because you've
like
already done the song.
yeah, I like to think that I deliver with my cover arts. Like I think that
Nice.
yeah. So
Well, I've seen cover art on the stuff you already have on Spotify, and it's all really cool. Because I was looking, I was like, it looks. Some of them looks like actual photos. Others, it's the imagery that's like, it's like, what is this? This is neat. Like, how did he do this?
oh, thank
I think
you.
it's gonna be really cool. And of course, I want to have you back talk about photography. But before we move on to the fun questions part of the show that I like to do, is there anything else that you would like to say or discuss about your new single, Flying Saucer, or your music in general?
Yeah. So there's another song out in 2 weeks. I'm sticking with the schedule of every other Friday. So the
Nice.
next one's going to be a collab actually with a guy in the States. His name's Eric. His artist name's Only Eric, all
Only
lowercase, no space.
I
So
like it.
it's so I'm the featured artist, but it's just both of us. It's a collab song. So it's called
That's
Talk to
awesome.
Me. Yeah. So that's the
So
next one.
so you're expanding, you're growing, you're working with other artists as well. That's awesome to know. So anyone out
Yeah.
there listening and you're a musician, you want to hit up Harrison, reach out.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd love to collaborate with more artists. I'd love to meet new artists and discuss and make amazing music together. Let's do
Awesome.
it. So that's the next song. So I thought that's what I'd shout out next. And then I haven't actually scheduled the one after that because there's so many to choose from. That's another thing that's hard is deciding the order to release stuff in. Because
Yeah.
there's songs that I know that would suit a certain time of the year. Like when it's this Halloween again, I've got some spookier songs that would be great for the Halloween season. So it's just deciding when is best, when is the perfect timing to put certain songs out. You know
I
what I
like it.
mean?
Yeah. Try to kind of be thematic in a way. Have
Yeah,
a
and have the I
style.
want to try and have the last one follow up in a cohesive way from the
That's
last one that
fair.
I put out. Yeah.
Well, Harrison, I really appreciate you coming on today and just sharing with us your process, everything that you do. Of course, Flying Saucer is saucers, right? Plural.
Yeah, sources
Sorry.
plural.
Flying Saucers is out right now, streaming on all music platforms. You can find it on Spotify. You can find his other music out as well. Highly recommend you check it out. Links are in the show notes. And just again, thank you for taking us through everything that you have done and how you create. It's really fascinating to see the way that you work. And of course, I love how experimental all the music is because, like, I just hit play and it goes through like your first, I think you're like your top 5 most streamed, and like you just hit play on the first song, and then like by the time the second and third play, it's almost like a completely different genre, but it all flows. It all has this really cool sound to it. So it was really fun to listen to because I was like, this is not what I was like. Oh, he's like an indie rock music. I was like, oh wait, he's doing a little hip hop. Oh wait, this is pop. What the hell am I listening to? This is
Yeah.
so experimental, but it works, man. It's really good.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. Yeah, I want to have my own sound for sure.
Hey, thank you for tuning in so far. We're just taking a quick break because I'd love to share with you Flying Saucers by Harrison J, who was kind enough to let us have this song to play on IPA Sessions. But go to Spotify and check it out and check out all of his other amazing music. And thanks again, everyone, for listening.
Everyone deals with the pain, we are all the same. Trying to get out of the moment, trying to get out of my brain. Live life every day in memories, I can't control them. I want you to just be around, why can't you just hang out? Forgetting today, flying miles away in a state of ecstasy. You know that I will get so high, I'm seeing fire saucers in the sky. Light is away from you tonight. No, no, you know that I will get so high, I'm seeing fire saucers in the sky. Light is away from you tonight. No, no. Expectations to cure my pain for the love I gain. Is it really worth it? Sources are faster than a plane, ultrasonically, chronically up above it. Why can't you just be around? Why can't you just hang out? Forgetting today, flying miles away in a state of ecstasy. You know that I will get so high, I'm seeing fire saucers in the sky. Light is away from you tonight. No, no, you know that I will get so high, I'm seeing fire saucers in the sky. Light is away from you tonight. No, no. Every time we fly in the stars, the whole universe will be ours. Even when our souls are apart, flying saucers will just fly us to Mars. Every time we fly in the stars, the whole universe will be ours. You know that I will get so high, I'm seeing fire saucers in the sky. Light is away from you tonight. No, no, you know that I will get so high, I'm seeing fire saucers in the sky. Light is away from you tonight. No, no, no,
And we're back. That was Flying Saucers from Harrison J. It's out now, streaming on Spotify, along with a ton of other amazing singles. And now, back to the conversation. Let's move into the fun questions then with all this stuff that
Mhm.
you've been doing. And my first question for you is, what has been the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome? And it could even be something that you're still working on, but like a really big challenge as far as creating your music, whether it's related to Flying Saucer or, like you talked about earlier, collaborating with someone or trying to come up with a full album concept. But what to you as a musician has been the biggest challenge you've had to face and overcome?
So for me, it's the fact that I right now I can't set up a gig. I'd love to start performing live, but I just don't have the equipment or the budget to start going and
Uh,
doing live performances. So that's probably my biggest setback right now as a musician because I have all the equipment to make music. I just don't have it to perform. And I'd love to perform on stage. That's a big dream of mine. I'd love to be on stage. So if anyone's listening and knows how to help me, hit me up. And
that's right.
yeah, so
Click on the
uh,
links. You can also email my podcast email, and I'll put you guys in touch.
yeah, thank you. And so that's the main thing is working with budget as well. I do multiple part-time jobs as well. So I work at a theatre, shout out Crew Lyceum Theatre. And then
Nice.
I also do the social media for a website, mrbags.co.uk. They sell all sorts of packaging and different bags, like gift bags.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, you can catch me sometimes on TikTok, Mr. Bags at mrbags.co.uk, five, the number five at the end for some reason. Didn't decide that personally, but yeah. So that's I
Well,
run that. Yeah,
I I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no worries. So yeah, both that and the theatre, they are my. I make more money doing that than music right now, just because they're hourly rates. So it's just I need those in order to fund my music projects right now. So I'm grateful to have both of those because having 2 0 hour. There is a third one, but it's a lot more casual, which is Sandbach Town Hall. I do bartending there every once in a while, so that's another one. And then I
Stop in
make
the
money
pub and
from
say hi.
photography too. Yeah, and then uh, photography as well. I make a bit of money from, but this year hasn't been as much as last year. Last year I was better off with photography. I've just not managed to get as much opportunities this year. But shout out to my friend Toby because I'm going to be helping with his clothing line that's going to be launching soon. I'm going to be doing the photography for that, so quite excited.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you're a
so
real indie artist there, just tackling everything.
yeah, so that's how I get my money mainly. So that's the main thing is learning to balance all of those other things with music too. It's hard to balance a lot of different endeavors like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a huge challenge to and like to overcome all that. And like you said, you're
Mm,
still actively working to get past that point, but you have to support yourself. And wanting to have that dream of doing the live gig, putting on a live performance, doing everything that you're doing now is going to get you to that point. So it's a huge
exactly.
challenge doing that, balancing that. Yeah. I think balance in general with your work life and your hobby life, like what you want to do, it's hard to combine that. And I said hobby, I'm sorry, your artist life and your
It's all
personal life,
good.
it's hard to combine that. I feel your pain. Multitasking
Yeah,
at all at both ends here too.
mm,
Definitely a huge challenge, but it sounds like you're on the right track and you have great
thank
things
you.
happening and it's leading to more opportunities. Keep at it, man. And moving along, I want to ask you now. You've been making music for a while. You were in the radio, as you said earlier. Which, by the way, I dabbled in the radio industry for a little bit, so I
Yeah,
know how
it was
fun and exciting that can
2017 to
be.
2019. That was when I was a host for. So
Nice.
I was literally 16. So
There
yeah,
you go.
I'm
Hey,
22
it's
now.
that's amazing to get in so young. But with the radio world, you got to meet new artists all the time and find their music, and that inspired you to go to school for it. So you became trained to a degree. Now you've been doing this for about the last 3 or 4 years, creating your own
Yeah,
music as well, putting yourself out there. You're starting to really learn this world, and there are things that you start to see and understand. But has there been anything unexpected that may have just caught you off guard, and it could be something that you weren't anticipating and you had to learn it right there in the moment? Has there been anything unexpected you've had to face?
Uh, I feel like a lot of it kind of is I had to accept that like the music posts aren't performing as well as the older posts on the social media because I didn't grow my Instagram, for example, which is my biggest platform. My biggest posts were years before I started putting out music, and I went on like a 2 year hiatus from I stopped posting at the end of 2020 and then I didn't come back to like the end of 22. So it's like because of that, that's made my account inactive, and I've
Yeah, it
had to
kind of takes you
accept.
out of the algorithm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the posts used to pop off, but they don't at all, and people just don't use Instagram the same way anymore. So I think that is one thing I had to face is that the posts that I'm posting now aren't going to perform as well, but one day they will. When eventually the algorithm picks it up, I need to just
Mm.
carry on staying consistent, and eventually I'll see it. You know what I mean?
I
But
feel
I
you.
can't
I've been
just
trying to
sit
do the
and
same.
not do it. But I just have to carry on. It's hard though,
It's
isn't it?
it's something I've noticed too. You're right about like that
It
that
can be an ego
unexpected that
hit
you're
as
not
well.
yeah, it could be ego because I'm assuming like me, you have your personal Instagram page. It's just
Yeah.
you and all your friends that know you, and then you have your artist Instagram page. For
Oh,
me, it's
actually,
IPA,
no,
and
not
I
really. I just have
oh
the main one and the photography one. I
oh well,
couldn't
you
be
were
do.
smarter than me. I made the
Well,
mistake
I
of
do the
after
third
having a
one
personal
too,
account.
but yeah.
But what I was gonna say though is for me that getting the post out there when I had my regular Instagram account because all my friends and everyone knew me, it would just be like, oh, I felt like just random pictures of me at work and stuff. It seems like you get more likes. But I did the podcast, and it's like I'm trying to put the podcast out there, and of course they accept the invitation to be friends, and you look at it, you put all the work out there, and like I'm not getting nearly as much because it's still continuing to grow. Whereas like with your personal over years, it's like they knew me. And so I stopped using my personal as much. But even still, my personal with random photos I'll post will get sometimes more than my professional podcast. And I'm like,
Mm.
what is happening here?
I
And
think
it's an ego
Instagram
trip because
is
you're like,
like,
this is I don't need my
yeah.
personal shit. I want you to look at my work here. I want you to see this artist that I'm talking to. And it's
Mm.
difficult to get that started. Thankfully, now I've been on a really good rhythm. I've been putting out, like you said, consistent work. So now people seem to understand, like, oh, Jacob doesn't use his personal anymore. He's on the IPA. So if they want to reach me, they contact me through there. My own girlfriend's like, I don't even use your personal anymore. She's like, I just hit you up on your podcast when I need your attention. I was like, okay.
Yeah, whichever you get back to faster, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But I can
it's,
see that
yeah.
challenge, man. And to not expect that, because you're like you kind of feel like because you've been doing it for so long that it would already be
Mm.
established. So even if you took a break and came back, it would just pick right back up. But things change so fast, especially with tech and with
Mm.
social media. I mean, like TikTok's already evolving, Instagram's evolving. Facebook is weird. It's to me, it feels kind of like a dead place. I don't even use
Yeah,
Twitter or
no.
X or whatever it's called. Too much confusion there. I live in the States, so right now there's way too many politics and weird things
Yeah,
going on that I'm like, I don't even want to
not a fan
engage
of
in
it.
that. Yeah, it's like you're taking away from the stuff I really want to talk about that
I
I
know
actually care about.
ever since Elon took it over, it went downhill.
Yeah,
It
Twitter.
just, yeah, yeah.
So weird. But yeah,
But
who would have thought social media is an unexpected thing to come across?
mm,
Because you think you
it's
know
just
it,
crazy though,
and then
isn't it? It's
it
always
changes on you.
changing. Yeah, even I wonder what it'll be like even in like 2 years. It'll be different.
Different.
It's
Yeah,
just the pace that it goes at is so insane, isn't it? It's just
yeah,
constantly going faster and faster. It feels like.
it does. And I mean they evolve. Like Instagram is great right now because I've stopped posting pictures. I end up been posting more reels. I have a lot of fun doing the reels. I noticed that reels are popular. People like it because I guess because of how popular TikTok is. So it seems like that's
Mm.
something else too. Is like these platforms will adapt to be like, well, whatever that platform is doing, we'll make like a
I know. I
competition
wish
for
they
it.
wouldn't though, because they're all the same, and it's like I want them to have their own vibe as
Right.
well. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
and
why they're
I
like, you could just
yeah.
copy and paste your link. So when you post on Instagram, it'll automatically upload to your Twitter and your Facebook and everything else. And it's like, so what's the point of having 4 accounts and I just use one?
Yeah,
What?
it's just I know it's odd,
I'm
isn't
an old
it?
man, though. What do I know?
Yeah, but I guess in a way it's good that you can post it to all of them rather than having to do a new thing for each one as well. There's that
That's
too.
fair. Yeah. But what's the point of having all 4 if they're the
Yeah,
same?
literally. Mm.
But there are these facts of life, the realities that you have to deal with. There are things that you can't change, you can't do anything about it. It is what it is. And for you, I want to know what's a hard reality that you've had to deal with and accept. Even
Mm.
if it's a bit discouraging, you found a way to just embrace it and move forward. So what's been a
Yeah,
hard reality for you, something that you can't change, you have no control over, you have to just accept it and work with it?
yeah, I feel like it's like for a long time I was just like sitting on the music because I wanted to find a good industry connection, but then I had to accept that that's never going to happen unless I start putting stuff out, like, because no one's ever going to know if I can't get a gig, because that would be the only other way that I would be able to find any industry connections without having the music out would be if I from gigging, but
Yeah.
because I can't get a gig, then I'm gonna have to release the music, and I'm glad I am. It's so fulfilling to actually be an artist and truly have like a fan base now, and it's so rewarding, and it means the world to me. It's like I've already achieved my dreams there in that sense, but I just can't wait to elevate it and show other people that would be interested, because I want the people that would love my style the most to find it. I feel like there's so many people that would love my music that just they don't know about it, so they would just need to find it. So
Right. Well, I find it fascinating that the hard reality for you is the reality of what you're doing. You were like, I have all this music and I was sitting on it, and it's like, but why? Put it out there, because you can't be seen if you don't, like you said earlier, if you don't try, if you don't do it, nothing's going to come
mm,
of it. And then it's just wasted work. It's amazing work that you need to express and share with others. And like you said, you're growing this fan base, so people like it, they want it. And you may not be at that super high level yet, but Radiohead started small. They played in pubs. They got those gigs, and that's your next step, getting to the gigs, really getting yourself out there more. You're already out there on the social media presence, the virtual presence, and now you're working to continue putting yourself out there more in the live in your face presence. So yeah, that's a very difficult reality to deal with and embrace, and
mm,
just simply do it and put yourself out there. I love that,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, location as well. Like Crewe is not. There's no music scene in Crewe at all. It's just a very small town in the northwest of England, so there's nothing really there for music.
What's
So
the next biggest city that you are closest to,
I
and how
would say
far is it from you?
it's in between Liverpool and Manchester. So I went
Oh,
uni at
okay.
Liverpool, so I've got more connections in Liverpool just because I go in uni there. And then there are a few people I know in Manchester, like my friend Will that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd
Is
say
that like a
Liverpool,
30-minute
Manchester.
commute for you, or an hour commute for
Uh,
you?
yeah, it's between half an hour and an hour unless the trains get delayed, which is a lot. The
Oh, yeah.
UK train system is shit. So
That's fair. It's like living in LA. I use my car, and driving is shit, but it's like you can also deal with the bus system if you want.
yeah.
um, but I know that there's a scene in Liverpool and Manchester. They have a lot of music that comes out of there, so that's good. That at
Mm,
least it's not too terribly far. But like you said, you got to put the groundwork in, and get yourself out there. Just start talking to people. Put yourself out there, just
yeah,
like
I
with you,
do.
like you did with your music. I love that, man. And moving along here, I'd like to ask you now, what is the most valuable takeaway that you've learned from this experience as a musician, as an artist, as a photographer, that's helped you grow and improve as an artist? What is your most
Mm.
valuable takeaway from all of this?
I feel like to like take control, you have to accept that it's out of your control, if you get me. So you
Embrace
just
the
kind of,
chaos.
yeah, embrace the chaos and just like show people what you can do. People aren't going to know that you're talented unless you show them what you've got already. And then if it's like if it could be better, then now's you can work on it and you can hear the feedback and make it even better for the next time too. So I feel like putting it out now, I can hear what people want to see improved on as well, and I can apply that for the future releases as well. So I think
Yeah,
that's another good thing about not putting out a whole album straight away, is that if there is ways I can make it better now, then I can gradually do that, and eventually it'll be like the perfect album ready sound. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's amazing. Just embrace it all.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great takeaway to have. That's very valuable, because that's how you grow. You're embracing
Exactly.
everything, and you're growing from that. You're learning from that. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up, man. We talked about the unexpected earlier, things that you just don't see coming, that you kind of have to learn in the moment. But with Flying Saucer, with the other music that you've put out, what did you want from this project? What did you expect?
I just kind of wanted a positive reaction. I didn't have any sort of particular goal in terms of numbers. I just wanted people to enjoy it. I wanted the people who would love that sound to have that sound. I feel like I want to make music in. I feel like there's a gap for like male singers right now, like people who really can like sing more. Like I feel like there's more focus on like rapping flows, like melodic flows, which I do as well. Like in my song Aroma, for example, that is a melodic rap song. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that too. But I wanted to showcase vocals more so as well. I think people focus on getting the perfect pitch and auto tune as well, but I feel like showing the range, people don't focus enough on showing that range more. So I want to
No.
implement that as well.
I like that. Yeah. You
Yeah.
got big expectations. If I can knock it out of the park, I love it.
Mm.
Do it. Change it. Change the industry. Help out. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do it
Um,
unless you try.
well, yeah, because you see the same stuff, and it's like my expectation from this, my goal from this is to be experimental for that reason, like to showcase, like, hey, you can focus on this too. This is something new. It's refreshing. It feels original, and it's the music world, and much like the film world and the music world, there's so much content out there that after a while it all feels the same. And it's like, how do you stand out? What can you focus on to make yourself different, to add some change and bring a breath of fresh air into it? So I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's
Good
funny you
job.
say that because one song that I'm sitting on is actually called Fresh Air. So
Hey.
maybe that's one I should put out.
Nice. I like it. Coming soon.
Yeah.
What's your drive? What motivates you to do this every day? To wake up and be like, I'm out here. What
Uh,
motivates you?
I don't know. It provides me with so much satisfaction making these ideas that I just get in my head into reality. Like, because I feel like I'm making music that I would love to discover. Like, even if I didn't make it, it's just I love finding new sounds and styles. So I want to be that artist for people that will introduce a new type of sound to them and show them that, like, it's just there's so many different things you can do. Like, you don't want to have the same song for all your whole album. You want to play around and see all sorts of different things. Like, I guess it's just
No, I
that's what
being
I'm sort of
different, being
repeating
that
myself. I
change.
feel like, yeah,
Yeah.
but
That's your motivation. It's the same as your hard reality you mentioned earlier, your valuable takeaway. It all comes together. Like that's all of that stuff that you've been dealing with and trying to actively do. That's what motivates you because you want to change things, uh, while also showing that like you can do this. Not just you, but anyone out there listening. Be the change. Do it. Put yourself out
yeah,
there.
I
Be
want to
creative.
show them that
There's
if
no
I can
wrong
do it,
way.
anyone can. Yeah,
Exactly. That's a great motivation to inspire others. That's part of why that's why I do this podcast. It's not about me. It's I want to share your experience with others so people are like, I want to create music and be a musician. I just don't know how. Like I can't get signed by a
yeah,
record label. It's like, well, Harrison's not signed. He's out there making music right now. He's changing the industry. Look at him. Here's how he did it. You go and do
mm,
it yourself. Showcase who you are.
yeah.
Motivate
There's so
yourself.
many people that have brilliant song ideas, but they just think they don't have the means to make it. And so they don't, but anyone can do it, and like you can do it at home. That's what I did,
Right.
so that's what I'm
And
trying to show. Yeah.
And I love what you're saying because it leads me into my final question for you, which is if there is anything that you can say to anyone out there looking to do what you do, what would you say? What's some advice you can give any of the listeners?
So YouTube is a great source for free education on getting better at producing, for sure.
YouTube has become a great friend to people.
Yeah, for sure. I've learned a lot of skills from YouTube. And then I would say try and, if you're still in school, try and lean to more creative subjects that will help motivate you to implement that creativity outside of it too. Because I'd say a lot of what I do has been stuff I've been taught throughout my education as well, like how to go about doing things in a way, especially in like the communication side of things too. I feel like I just wouldn't know how to network well. So, but that's a skill that anyone can learn. You don't need to go education for that. So it's just kind of trusting your instincts as well. I think a lot of creative people, they have these ideas that they don't know if people are going to like because it seems out there, but you just kind of have to test it out. And even if some people don't like it, there'll be other people that love it. So,
Yeah. I like it, man. Couldn't have said it better myself, even with a great accent like you.
oh, thanks.
That's great advice. Dude, I really appreciate you coming on today. This has been a really fun conversation. I love your attitude. I like that you want to change the industry. You want to be experimental, do that, shake shit up. I love it. Um, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up? And of course, please put yourself out there. There are links in the show notes, but tell the listeners and the viewers that are watching where they can find you and any new stuff that's coming out to look forward to. And obviously go listen to Flying Saucers out now on Spotify.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. So it's my Instagram and TikTok, all the social media, I think it's Harrison J. There might be some that is just Harrison J, but I think for the most part, the social media it's at the start, like ITS Harrison J.
Gotcha.
And
Links in the show
J is
notes.
it's JAY as well, not just the letter J. And if you're wondering,
Gotcha.
that's my middle name. So my last name's Jones. And the reason why I chose Harrison J as the name rather than Harrison Jones is because when you search Harrison Jones, it comes up with Indiana Jones because of Harrison Ford.
That's
So,
right.
so I thought for the SEO, for the algorithm, it's much better to come up with a different name then. So Harrison J it is.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's great.
There we go. But love
Awesome.
Indiana Jones, love Harrison Ford. People think I was named after him, but I wasn't.
Yeah. He's a great guy. My day job is I'm a locations manager, and I recently wrapped production on a TV series with him, and he was incredible to work with. Super
Wow.
awesome, and it was a project he loved being a part of. So it wasn't like he was sour or anything that I was aware of. He seemed genuinely happy with the production. He loved being there. He was completely nice. He treated everyone like a coworker.
I
So
love
you
to hear
didn't
that.
have that like, oh, starstruck, gotta leave him alone, give him a space. He was like, no, how's it going? Did we get this light? We're ready. Camera's good. Let's fucking do this. Like, awesome guy. I can vouch. My experience was great. So
That's great to hear.
but yeah, dude, I really appreciate you coming on again today. To all the listeners out there, I hope that you took away something really great from this conversation. It just, even if it's just the attitude and the presence alone that Harrison has talked to us today, take that and run with it. Use that positivity, be the change, be experimental, try new things, shake it up. Go out there and run for it. And if you can, have a really great English accent to top it all off.
Thanks.
No, thank you, man. And to everyone out there listening, until the next time, stay golden.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, please rate and review, like and subscribe. Every little bit helps. And as always, the theme music of the show is provided by the Ericka page. And our brand new graphic designs are all thanks to Quality Artworks. Links are in the show notes. Go support these amazing indie artists just like they support IPA Sessions. And of course, please follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. That's at IPA Sessions Podcast. And if you or someone you know is an independent artist looking to promote their work or just share their story with us, please hit me up at ipasessionspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, everyone, and I hope you're able to find some inspirations for practical applications and entertainment.